On the morning of the 6th of July, 2013, a Boeing 777 came into San Francisco on a clear day and hit the seawall short of the runway. The runway ends at the edge of the bay, and the approach comes in low over the water. This is the NTSB's reconstruction of the final 5 miles. The glide slope transmitter was out of service, so the crew were flying it visually, on the lights beside the runway. The weather could not have been better, light wind, and 10 miles of visibility, which is as much as the report can state. Over the final 13 miles they came down high, and then worked to get back onto the profile. 82 seconds out the autopilot came off and the throttles went to idle. 8 seconds out they were at 125 feet. The crew believed the autothrottle would hold their speed. In the mode it was in, it would not. The board's chair described what the recorders showed about the automation.
In this flight, in the last 2.5 minutes of the flight, from data on the flight data recorder we see multiple autopilot modes and multiple autothrottle modes. We need to understand what those modes were, if they were commanded by pilots, if they were activated inadvertently, if the pilots understood what the mode was doing.
The same aircraft type had flown the same approach on each of the 3 previous days. Only the glide path on the 6th of July ends at the seawall. They had been told to hold 180 knots until 5 miles out. In the last seconds the speed fell to barely half that. The lights beside the runway had been showing them below the glide path for some time. That was already the case at 500 feet above the ground. The tail struck the seawall and separated. The rest of the aircraft went down the runway on its belly. The fuselage was lifted out of the field beside the runway days later. It came to rest 2,400 feet from where it first hit. Investigators found the fuselage burned out and the cabin collapsed on one side. As it slid, the wings and fuselage swung right the way round. The wreckage was documented where it lay before anything was moved. Almost everyone on board walked away from it. A cabin crew member carried passengers off on her back, and went back in.
She wanted to make sure that everyone was off. She was a hero.
3 of the 307 people on board died. One of them was struck by a fire vehicle. Both recorders were recovered and read out in Washington. The board held a public investigative hearing that ran for days. The cockpit voice recording showed the crew's own understanding of the approach changing as it went on.
During the approach there were statements made in the cockpit first about being above the glide path, then about being on the glide path, then later reporting about being below the glide path. All of these statements were made as they were on the approach to San Francisco.
One whole panel of the hearing was about how the airline trained its pilots to use the automated systems. The finding was not that anyone stopped flying. It was that everyone believed something else was watching the speed. The weather was clear, the aircraft was working, and 3 experienced pilots watched the speed fall away. When everyone assumes the machine is handling it, whose job was it?